Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at an insurance case.
Oh, this is a good one.
It is a good one. It brings up a lot of interesting questions about insurance and fire investigations and
In Truth and Fiction.
exactly how do we determine what really happened?
Yeah, the source material is pretty interesting on this one. We've got court documents, investigative reports,
Yeah,
and,
expert opinions.
yeah, and they all,
It's a mess.
well, they point in different directions. Let's just say that. So
Mhm.
I think our mission today is to try to sort through it all and figure out what we can from this case.
Yeah, and see if we can glean any insights
Yeah.
that our listeners could maybe even apply to their own lives,
Yeah.
when it comes to insurance or just evaluating information in general.
Right. Or just dealing with tricky situations in general.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it.
Okay.
This case takes us to India,
Okay.
where we meet a truck owner named Anil Kumar Sharma.
All right.
And Sharma found himself in a very fiery situation.
Literally.
Literally, his truck caught fire
Oh, no.
while driving on the Yamuna Expressway
I've heard of that road.
back in May 2014.
Okay.
Now the truck was insured
Good.
for a significant sum of money.
So that's probably why we have a case here.
Exactly 17 lakhs, to be exact.
Okay.
You might think, okay, truck catches fire. That's an open and shut insurance claim.
Seems straightforward,
But there is a but.
always a but.
This was not Sharma's first truck fire.
Oh, really?
This was not his first rodeo when it
Yeah.
came to trucks and fires.
Okay, so now we're interested.
Yes. And this obviously raised some red flags for the insurance company, HDFC Ergo.
Right. You gotta wonder if this is just a string of bad luck or if there's something more going on.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to try to figure out. So picture this. The fire's out of the truck. The truck is a smoldering wreck.
Okay.
Sharma files his claim with HDFC Ergo.
Makes sense.
And they bring in an investigator, Zubair Ali Khan, to take a closer look at what happened.
Smart move.
And what Khan uncovered, well, let's just say threw a wrench in the whole thing.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat.
His report concluded that the fire was not an accident.
Uh-oh.
It was arson.
Wow. So
Okay.
he's saying Sharma intentionally set his own truck on fire.
That's exactly what he's saying. And he had several reasons for this conclusion.
Like what?
Well, for starters, Sharma gave some inconsistent statements during the investigation.
Mm.
Also, he was strangely unavailable for an engine inspection.
Okay, that is suspicious.
And to top it off, neither Sharma nor the driver were anywhere to be found when the fire brigade arrived at the scene.
So everyone's just hanging out on the expressway and then poof, truck's on fire, but no one's around to explain what happened.
Right. It's pretty bizarre. Then there's the issue of the truck's battery.
Okay.
It was found improperly placed inside the cabin of the truck.
Wait, so not in its usual spot?
Not where it should be.
Yeah?
And Khan pointed out that this was a clear violation of safety regulations.
Right. I can see how that would be a big deal.
It definitely raised eyebrows.
Yeah.
So we've got all these suspicious details, and then you factor in Sharma's history of truck fires.
It's starting to look pretty bad for him.
Right. It paints a pretty compelling picture for the insurance company. They decided to deny Sharma's claim.
I guess that makes sense given the evidence they had.
But Sharma, he wasn't going down without a fight. He felt like he had a legitimate claim, and he took HDFC Ergo to court.
What court did he go to?
He filed a complaint with the District Forum in Agra.
The what?
The District Forum. It's kind of like a specialized court in India that specifically deals with consumer disputes.
Okay, makes sense.
And get this, the District Forum actually ruled in Sharma's favor.
What?
Yeah, they awarded him the full insured amount for the truck,
Really?
plus some extra compensation for his troubles.
Wow, talk about a plot twist.
It definitely seemed like a victory for Sharma at that point, but HDFC Ergo, they weren't giving up that easily.
Of course not. There's a lot of money at stake here.
Exactly.
Ugh.
They appealed the decision and took the case up to the state commission.
Okay, so that's a higher court, right?
Right, it's the next level up in the Indian legal system. And here's where things take another turn.
Oh boy, what happened?
The state commission overturned the district forum's ruling.
Oh wow.
They completely sided with HDFC Ergo and dismissed Sharma's complaint.
So now we've got two courts with completely opposite decisions.
It's a real legal roller coaster.
I bet.
But this isn't the end of the story. Sharma was determined to get his compensation, and he decided to take the case even higher.
Where do you go from there?
He filed a revision petition with the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, or NCDRC for short.
Okay, that sounds important.
It is. It's the highest court you can go to in India for consumer disputes.
So this is the final showdown.
This is it. The NCDRC had to consider all the evidence, the conflicting accounts, and the legal arguments and decide who had the stronger case.
So what did they decide? They sided with the insurance company.
No way. So
There
they
you go.
agreed with the state commission.
Yep. They basically said that Khan's investigation was just too convincing. You know, all those red flags he pointed out and Sharma's past claims it created too much doubt about the legitimacy of this fire.
So even though those two surveyors initially supported Sharma's claim, the NCDRC put more weight on the findings of that independent investigator.
Right. And that happens sometimes. You know, different experts can look at the same evidence and come to different conclusions. And courts, they have to weigh the credibility of each source, consider potential biases, and ultimately make a judgment call.
It's like trying to put together a puzzle, but some of the pieces are missing. You have to kind of look at the bigger picture and fill in the blanks.
Exactly. And in this case, the NCDRC felt that Khan's report, along with all those other circumstances surrounding the fire, just tipped the scales in favor of the insurance company.
This whole thing makes me think about the bigger picture. It's not just about this one truck fire in India. It's about how individuals interact with big corporations, especially when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Like with insurance claims.
Yeah. There's often this perceived power imbalance, you know? The little guy versus the big company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in situations like that, it's crucial to have systems in place that ensure things are handled fairly and transparently.
Absolutely. Imagine being in Sharma's shoes. You've lost your truck. You're probably under a lot of financial stress, and then you get accused of arson on top of it all. That's got to be tough.
And then to have your insurance claim denied after all that.
Yeah. It really highlights the need for clear legal frameworks and consumer protection mechanisms that give individuals a fair chance in these kinds of disputes.
It's about making sure everyone has equal footing, that the evidence is looked at objectively, and that there are ways to seek recourse if someone feels like they've been wronged.
Right. It's not about always siding with the individual, but about making sure the process is fair.
This whole case makes me think about the role of evidence.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We've got surveyor reports, witness statements, an independent investigator's report, and even Sharma's past claims. How do courts sift through all of that and figure out what to believe?
Well, they have to assess the reliability of each piece of evidence. They looked at the expertise of the people involved, any potential biases, they might have the methods they use to gather the evidence, and whether their conclusions actually line up with the facts.
So it's not just about what's being said, but who's saying it and how they came to their conclusions.
Right. And in this case, they seem to really trust Khan's expertise and the thoroughness of his investigation.
It's interesting, though, because even though the court ruled in favor of HDFC Ergo, it doesn't necessarily mean that Sharma was definitely guilty of arson.
Exactly. That's an important point. This was a civil case, not a criminal one. So the standard of proof is different.
So in a criminal case, you need to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right. But in a civil case like this one, it's more about who has the stronger evidence, even if it's just slightly stronger.
So there could still be some questions about what really happened with Sharma's truck fire.
Right. We might never know for sure.
But the court made their decision based on the legal principles and the evidence they had in front of them.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's how the system works.
This whole case really shows how important it is to have a strong and fair legal system,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to these kinds of disputes between individuals and big companies like insurance companies.
Absolutely. It's all about protecting the rights of everyone involved and making sure things are handled fairly.
We've talked a lot about the legal aspects of this case, but I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the human side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Let's try to put ourselves in Sharma's shoes for a minute.
Okay.
You've lost your truck, you're probably struggling financially, and then you get hit with this accusation of arson, and your insurance claim is denied.
I can't imagine how frustrating that would be.
It makes you think about the emotional toll these situations can take on people.
Absolutely. It's not just about the legal stuff and the money. It's about the stress and the uncertainty of it all.
It's about feeling like you're stuck in a system that's working against you.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to have clear communication, transparent processes, and a system that allows people to feel heard and understood, even if the outcome isn't what they were hoping for.
Even if they don't get the result they want, at least they feel like they were treated fairly and that their voice was heard.
Exactly.
As we've been talking about this case, one thing that keeps coming back to me is the idea of safeguards.
Safeguards.
Yeah, like what kind of safeguards can be put in place to protect everyone involved?
Wow, I see what you mean.
To protect the insurance companies from fraudulent claims, but also to protect individuals who legitimately need that financial support.
Right. Finding that balance is really important.
Exactly. How do we make sure the system is fair for everyone?
Well, there are a few things that could help. For example, we could look at standardizing the investigation process.
Standardizing how they investigate these claims.
Yeah, having clear guidelines for evaluating evidence, maybe even some kind of independent review process for claims that are disputed.
So like a second opinion from a neutral party.
Exactly. That could help make sure that decisions are based on solid evidence and not just on someone's gut feeling or biases.
It seems like having those clear procedures would go a long way in making sure everyone is treated fairly.
Right. And it's not just about the procedures themselves, it's also about transparency.
Transparency.
Yeah. If both the person making the claim and the insurance company have a clear understanding of the process and how decisions are being made, it can build trust.
And maybe even prevent some of these disputes from happening in the first place.
Exactly. When everyone knows the rules of the game, it can make things a lot smoother.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, another thing I've been thinking about is the role of technology.
Oh, yeah, technology can definitely play a part here.
Do you think advancements in things like data analytics or forensic science could make these investigations more accurate?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine using data analytics to spot patterns of fraud,
That's a great point.
or using cutting-edge forensic techniques to analyze fire debris and determine the exact cause of the fire.
So we could get even more precise information about what happened.
Exactly. That kind of accuracy could really help resolve these disputes quickly and fairly.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface here, but this deep dive has really given us a lot to think about.
It really has.
From the complexities of the legal system to the human stories behind these disputes, it's clear that this case is about so much more than just one truck fire in India.
It really is a microcosm of these bigger issues we face as a society, you know?
Yeah, like how do we ensure fairness and accountability?
And how do we balance the power between individuals and these big institutions?
It's a lot to unpack.
It is. But it reminds us that even though we may never know for sure what happened in this specific case, the pursuit of truth and justice is an ongoing process.
Well said. So for our listeners out there, I want to leave you with this final thought.
Yeah.
As you go about your day, think about the systems we all rely on.
Like the insurance industry, the legal system, all these complex structures that impact our lives.
Yeah. Exactly. How can we work together to make these systems more transparent and more responsive to the needs of everyone involved?
That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.
It's through these conversations that we can start to make a real difference.
Couldn't agree more.
And on that note, that's a wrap on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.